If the man is handsome, educated, has money, but still single, then what could be the problem?
Men didn't suddenly discover singleness. They retreated after years of bad deals dressed up as romance. When effort, loyalty, and provision are expected, but peace and respect are optional, the math becomes simple. Being alone stopped feeling like a loss and started feeling like relief. Funny how clarity arrives the moment men stop being guilt.
Reasons why men are single, still single, after the age of 30. Listen, if he is still single after 30, there is a freaking reason. Probably not because he's just picky. For one, he wants a girlfriend. He does. He wants a girlfriend, but he does not want to put in any of the effort to do so. Or God forbid he needs to delete the roster. Number two, which is a giant piss off, he thinks therapy is for the weak, but his communication is absolute shit. Like, sir, if anyone needs therapy, it's you. Number three, he's chasing 22-year-olds or 20-year-olds or 21-year-olds. Baby girl, he is the problem. But not least, he almost dated someone amazing. Now, he either fucked it up, fucked her over, or just wasn't ready at the time, then now he's freaking scared to try with any other amazing girl. Ladies, please send this to a man if he needs to see it. And fellas, if this hurt your feelings, it was probably meant for you.
Men aren't scared of commitment. They're cautious of consequences. Marriage used to be a partnership. Now it feels like a one-sided contract with penalties for exiting. Once men realized love shouldn't require constant self-sacrifice, opting out wasn't rebellion. It was self-preservation.
I'm 35 years old, single, income, no kids, and I would rather stay single for the rest of my life than end up in a relationship with somebody because my clock is ticking or because I feel lonely. I see these people who got married at 23 years old, and I'm sure some of you are extremely happy, there's no doubt about it. But you don't even know who the fuck you are at 23 years old. I feel like I haven't even figured myself out. I'm going to therapy, I'm sober, I've been sober almost 15 years, and there's still things that I'm realizing that I like in relationships that I don't like in relationships. I would rather make sure that I have spent the time to develop who I am and understand exactly who I am as much as possible within reason, right? Than to get into a relationship with somebody because I simply feel lonely. I would rather figure out how to feel good being alone and not lonely than end up with somebody who I'm going to be unhappy with in 10 years and then bring that on my children. Here's the beauty of being a 35-year-old single income, no kids, aka a sink. I get to make the choices that I want, work for myself. I get to decide my schedule. I get to decide where I go, when I go there. I don't have anybody nagging me. I don't have anybody begging me for their attention. The reality is, I am in charge of my time. And fuck, it is beautiful, man.
What women call emotionally unavailable, men call peaceful. No arguments over imagined slights. No performance reviews for existing. No walking on verbal landmines. Solitude doesn't nag, threaten, or rewrite history. Hard to compete with that.
Dating older guys is fun until you realize why they're single at that age. Right? At first, it feels like an upgrade. You know, he's got a real job. He knows about wine. You know, he doesn't live with 3 roommates who play Xbox until 4 a.m. Fine. You know, you're thinking, finally a man. But then 3 weeks in, you know, you start connecting the dots. Right? He's not single because he's mysterious. He's single because he's stubborn. He's set in his ways. And he thinks therapy is for other people, okay? He'll take you to a nice dinner, sure, but he'll also argue about, you know, how tipping 18% is, you know, like a crime. You know, he's charming, but he's also bitter, okay? Every story starts with my ex-wife and ends with took the house, okay? So, you know, suddenly those salt and pepper vibes aren't so sexy when he's yelling at the waiter because they didn't honor his coupon. All right, so, you know, and God forbid you ask him to change. You know, a younger guy says, yeah, I'll try. You know, older guy says, this is who I am. So, yeah, that's why you're eating microwave leftovers alone in your 40s, Greg. All right, so, yeah, dating older can be fun. But just remember, there's usually a reason that wise, mature man is still single. And sometimes the reason is him.
The real shock isn't men choosing singleness. It's men enjoying it. No drama cycles. No endless expectations. No pressure to prove worth daily. When peace becomes normal, chaos loses its appeal, and men aren't apologizing for it anymore.
Oh, it's that time of year when all the women are like, oh, Santa, please bring me a good man. I want a good man for 2026. Well, I'm sorry, Brittany, but Santa doesn't see your Instagram. You're getting a lump of coal. I mean, let's be serious, ladies. Half of your social media looks like a situationship starter pack. Anyways, a strong masculine man is not going to chase after a chaotic woman. And you can take the boss babe hat off, honey, because I'm going to tell you from experience, alignment is way better than independence. So when you're asking, where the hell is my husband? Remember, peace attracts husbands. This just attracts lessons. And I have said this before. Remember, we are not bounty paper towel. Okay, this is not the quicker picker upper. If you keep attracting garbage, you need to start doing a little reflective work as to, why do I keep attracting garbage men? Why can't I find a good husband? My one piece of sister advice: remember, if you keep entertaining the clown, you just become part of the circus.
Modern dating tells men to invest heavily, with no guarantees and unlimited blame. Pay for everything, lead everything, fix everything, then get called bare minimum. At some point, men stop auditioning. Walking away isn't bitterness, it's discernment.
If you're a man with money, what's the point of marriage? Seriously, what's the point of getting married unless you want to lose all your shit? Unless you want to end up in court and have to pay somebody a bunch of money that they didn't earn, okay? And before you say, oh, it's to have a family and have kids, you don't need to do that anymore. You can go to a fertility clinic these days and you could have a kid whenever you want as a man with no woman in your life. You could just buy somebody's eggs and then pay a surrogate mother to carry that kid to term. Boom. You have a child. And guess what the best part about that is? Not only do you have a kid, you don't have to worry about some bitter woman trying to take that kid from you or demand money from you or keep bothering you for 18 years. And before you say, well, if you're a working man and you have money, well, how are you going to raise the kids? Easy. If you got money, you got the solution. The solution is nannies, maid, cook, whatever. Okay? And then when you come home, you get to enjoy time with your kid. So if you really want kids, you don't need to get married to have kids if you have money, is my point. And I would argue that if you get married these days and you have money as a man, you're probably just a little slow, okay? Or you're not all there, or maybe you have some type of kink or fetish where you like to give away all your money or have it robbed from you or taken from you, okay? Because most of the time, that's what happens, okay? Most of these marriages will end up in failure. And what happens? The woman who you married, who had nothing when you married her, but you had everything, is going to try to take everything from you or demand as much as she can because she never loved you. It was never about you. It was about what you could provide for her and what you could do for her, okay? And before you sit here and say, oh, no, this guy's bitter, I know my wife really loves me. I know that the woman I'm with really loves me. Listen, if you're a man with money, I'm only talking to men with money, okay? Why don't you do a little test? Why don't you do a little test, okay? For 60 to 90 days, it's got to be at least 60 to 90 days, because if it's 30 days, she won't show you her true colors. For 60 to 90 days, make up an elaborate lie that something went terribly wrong. You got sued. Something bad happened to the business. All the money's gone. Whatever you got to do, okay? Start making her struggle. Can't pay for her hair, can't pay for her nails, can't pay for this, can't pay for that. When she wants to go grocery shopping, say, we ain't gonna have money for that. We can't even pay the mortgage. We got nothing. But you got to make it last 60 to 90 days, and something magical is going to happen. You're going to realize she never loved you. The only thing she loved was the security that you could provide. So why would you want to do that? Why would you ever want to do that? Don't make no sense.
Men used to chase attention because attention was rare. Now it's loud, demanding, and transactional. Once men realized silence costs less than constant explanation, priorities shifted fast. Attention lost its value when it came with conditions.
I don't know when we're finally going to realize that more and more men are single because they want to be single. Because they've built up their lives. They like their day-to-day routine. They buy what they want and can afford. They spend time on whatever hobby they enjoy. But what they don't want is making the mistake of sacrificing those things for something less than what they already have. And I get it. We've heard that women are raising their standards. But ladies, men are too.
Men didn't abandon love. They abandon the version where they're always wrong by default. Love shouldn't feel like a courtroom with shifting charges. When solitude treats men better than relationships do, the choice explains itself.
Bro, one thing I always notice is that married men always tell men that's not married to stay single. And you start to ask yourself, like, damn, like, why is that? Like, I hear it from so many men that's married or been in relationships for 10 plus years. They always tell men, don't get married. And, like, you could love your wife dearly, love your kids dearly. Like, you wouldn't trade them for anything. But I tend to see that a lot. Like, especially online, I see different people or guys that's married, that's been in relationships, tell dudes to stay single. Also, I know people in my family personally that I've heard from as well. And I know everyone has a personal experience with it. But for the most part, like I said, I hear more people say that than not. And more, when I say that, I say more so from the men's perspective, not the women's perspective. I don't know how they feel about that or what they go through and shit. But when I hear about marriage, and especially for men who's married, they always say stay single. And of course, you still want to try things yourself. Like, it's good to take advice from people and hear certain people and things like that as well. But yeah, like, you still do want to try things yourself. But I feel like certain things, bro, when majority of people are saying one thing, it got to be some truth to it.
Singleness isn't loneliness when you're finally off the emotional treadmill. No mixed signals, no loyalty tests, no public shaming disguised as communication. Men didn't disappear. They just stopped explaining themselves to people who never listened.
Why a lot of men love being single. So ladies, if you're watching this is what you're up against and what you're competing against. 1, he can enjoy all of his hobbies without being nagged or put down or his hobbies made fun of. His friends might lightly tease him, but for the most part, they're probably into the same hobbies he is, and he's gonna have so much fun with them. So if you're in a relationship with a man, make sure you show full support for his hobbies. 2, he doesn't have to worry about financially serving anybody. Unfortunately, for a lot of men, relationships are insanely expensive. There's always that joke that he went to the restaurant without his girlfriend and he only had to spend like $10. Whereas with his girlfriend, he would have spent $50. Now that's probably an exaggeration, but you get what I'm getting at. And next, they can live and decorate the way they want to. They don't feel the need to have all these weird items around the house for no apparent purpose other than to collect dust. They can have that simple, minimalist setup that looks clean and beautiful, and it's effortless to maintain.
Society warned men they'd regret being alone, but forgot to mention the benefits. Financial stability, mental clarity, and freedom from constant criticism hit different. Turns out the fear campaign only worked when men didn't know better.
It's no wonder that men are single. I was in a restaurant eating lunch by myself, working because I'm traveling, and I overheard these 2 people on a date from a dating app. I turned off my music because I'm nosy, and this guy had the worst game I've ever heard. The girl would be asking him questions. So what do you do for work? And he would barely respond. I'm in sales. So she tries again. She's patient. She's clearly done this emotional labor for men before. She goes, oh, what company? And he shrugs and goes, it's complicated. We're in the middle of a shift. Okay, I'm cringing for her. What, are you working for the CIA? Did your company get bought and you're just belittling her, thinking she won't understand? Or do you just not have a job by the way that you're speaking at all? But she still continues to give him runway. She's nodding, smiling, trying to pull a full personality out of this man like she's on a rescue mission. So what do you do for fun? He goes, I love video games, hiking. And he said some other bullshit and then left it at that. Didn't ask what she liked, didn't ask about her job, nothing. I take a good look at both of them, and there's a huge visual attractionist gap between her and him, which I know is like 99% of relationships, let's be honest, but this one was incredibly over-exaggerated. I started to wonder how they even matched at all to begin with. But she just jumped right into some story about how she went on a hike with one of her girlfriends just for him to interrupt and mention that he's done that hike and how he felt about it. We need to normalize getting up and walking away from a table because no one deserves to have to talk to a wall in a busy restaurant. No wonder you guys hate dating apps.
The problem isn't men checking out. It's men no longer seeking approval. A man who doesn't need validation can't be shamed into bad decisions. And that terrifies systems built on guilt and obligation.
I told my husband that 63% of men 30 and under are single, and all he said was good.
Marriage didn't lose men. It priced itself out of the market. When the risks outweigh the rewards and accountability flows one way, men adapt. Silence isn't confusion, it's a conclusion. That's all for today. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to press the notification bell so you get the latest updates from our channel.